Welcome to Ask the Sales Professor. I am your sales coach, Ben Hipley, and this is your opportunity to learn from sales professionals good things as well as their bad things. But really, to make the most of your time, be sure to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to get back to you. And we have a guest coach with us today, Ken Holsinger, corporate sales coach with Benchmark Training. Thank you so much for joining us live today, Ken.
It's great to be here, Ben. And if you don't mind, I'd love to just jump right into it. And
I had a feeling you were going to say that. Jump right into it. So what does that mean for you? What do you have for us today?
Well, the question scrolling across the bottom, one of my connections on LinkedIn has asked me this. And this is something that we're asked many times in the training world. Why can't I just overcome the objection right away? Why can't I just jump in and solve that problem? So that's really what I'd like to discuss a little bit and some more about the process of overcoming objections with you today.
You know what? That is kind of a hot one. It's like we've got the answer in our head. Let's just fix it. And it's kind of like our normal reaction, right? We get a problem. We want to fix it right away. But that might not be the best course of action. I'm with you on that. All right, well, let's dig into it. But you know what I got to do first there, Ken?
Yeah. I was going to say, I was hoping I'd have to remind you.
You won't have to remind, but you might need to remind me at the end of this because I hate to forget that as well, too. But I'm going to hit our little intro. Here we go. Don't you just love that part?
I do.
Yeah, absolutely the best part. Okay, so we're getting this question. Why can't I just overcome the objection right away? And what's your take on this? Why can't they just overcome the objection right away?
Well, there's a part of the video that we have where we talk about these objections and talking about the best ways to respond. And there was a powerful statement. The first time that I heard you say this, it really impacted me. And we use it a lot now. You can either build a bridge or you can build a wall. And that, if you think about each step of this process, you're either working on building that bridge that you can cross together with your prospect or your client, or you're building a wall between you and the prospect. And it's really true. It's an image that I keep in my head now when I think about each step of the sales process, and especially when it comes to overcoming objections. So
it's a great visual. It's like, what am I doing with my customers? I'm getting to know them and building that trust with them. Am I going to build that bridge? Am I going to build that wall? And I would argue that when a customer gives you an objection, when they say an objection, that's actually their way of continuing to build a bridge.
Right.
As we all know, the most difficult objection to overcome is the one you don't know about, right? The one that you're like, oh, I didn't know why they weren't going to buy today or do business with us today. And so when they give you that objection, it's a little bit of an olive branch saying, hey, help me out. Help me get my head around why I should or should not move forward with the next step. And they're verbalizing that for you so you can help them. So that's their version of building that bridge, like you mentioned. And so if we just dive in and immediately try to negotiate or strong arm them or try to fix the problem, they might step back a little bit.
Right. Well, we consider it a gift. I mean, when someone expresses an objection, that means they're being open with you. They're communicating with you. They have a certain degree of trust with you. When they don't tell you something, as you said, that's the most difficult. The unknown objection that they have not verbalized is the most challenging objection to overcome. But Ben, for a minute, talk to me about a common objection that somebody might get, but they're really willing. The answer is simple. They practiced it last week in their sales meeting with their sales manager. They know how to overcome this objection. Talk about one of the common objections, and let's illustrate what the process should look like.
Yeah, I mean, my guess would be the most common objection is going to be something along price, right? Like the price is too high. And
sure.
When we hear that, it's like the wind taken out of our sails as a sales professional. We're like, oh man, they went there. They said the price was too high. It's all over. I might as well just give up now. And then, of course, there's the other side, which is I'm going to fight this as hard as I can and show them why we bring enough value to justify the price. And all that needs to happen. We got to have that conversation. But first, we got to make sure that we continue building that bridge. So I got a little visual here, Ken, so that we can see this. Thinking of how to respond to objections. And that first one is you want to cushion that. So thinking of price, the one thing we don't want to do is agree with them. Like, yeah, our price is really high, right? Like we don't want to just solidify that concern. At the same time, we do want to let them know that we're understanding what they're telling us without saying those words. I understand what you're telling me, right? Like I understand. So maybe it's something as simple like, no doubt we've got to stay on budget.
Okay.
Right. No doubt we got to stay on budget. Notice I use the word we.
Right.
It's not us against the customer. It's a partnership and a relationship of trust that we're building. And yeah, we've got to stay on budget. Now, I didn't say our price was high. I just said budget's important, right? And we get that budget's important when we're talking to them. So that might be a way just for the buyer to maybe drop her guard a little bit and say, okay, I extended an olive branch, I shared my concern, and this person's not trying to put me in an arm bar or a headlock and try to change my mind. The salesperson is getting what I'm putting down.
And Ben, the important part there, I think, and I'll ask you to elaborate on that a little bit more, but is the brevity of the statement. A cushioning statement shouldn't last for 2 minutes.
Amen.
A cushioning statement isn't, you showing like you've got all this knowledge and all this stuff. You just understand. You're acknowledging what they've said. You're acknowledging that you heard it. And then importantly, we'll go into what is the next step after you've cushioned it. But it's really, think of the word. You've softened the blow. You've cushioned it. And it is really, really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I love how you're putting that together there. So once you've done that, then what? Now can I fix it? I'm ready to fix it. Ready to put them in an bar. Can I fix it now? Or maybe there's that next step, right? That we have.
Right. And how many salespeople go into I'm going to fix it. And instead of clarifying that they have, the objection or the concern understood. So critical. Because what obviously can happen if you begin to defend what you believe was the objection, even if you have cushioned it, and then start to lay out all the reasons why, you may become overcoming an objection that doesn't exist yet.
Yes.
You may not have real clarification on what it is they are saying. So asking a clarifying question, go back to yours for a minute, Ben, and give me a clarifying a statement or clarifying question you might give.
So we might need to know, is it because we don't have the money right now? A lot of times you could be talking to a corporate buyer where they're at the end of their budget season. And they can't buy something until the budget renews a month later, 3 months later. Maybe that's really what's stopping them right now. Is it just a line item? Can they pull from somewhere else? So there's so many reasons why the price might be too high right now. And we've got to make sure that we're getting it, that we really look at the full picture when we're doing that. And Ken, I don't want to sidetrack you, but we've got a comment here. Jonathan Layman. So I'm going to put his question up on the screen here. So Jonathan, my biggest objection, we're still looking at other companies and we will get back to you next week. Oh man. Now Jonathan thinks that usually means they aren't choosing you or else they would have bought right then. Right. So that's a pretty common objection and it does sting. You talk about getting the wind out of your sails when you hear that. So what do we respond? Let's go back to that cushioning. How do we cushion this without confirming it or agreeing it or supporting it? So that cushion might be like, absolutely, it is so important to choose the best service provider or choose the best partner in this decision.
Right. And there are some things, and we can talk about this objection. There are some things that we talk about that help you prepare for that type of stuff, understanding the process, some of the advanced steps when you're meeting with the client and talking to the client, finding out where you are in the process and what their process looks like is very important. And it's one of the things that can help with this as well. But I think that's a great cushioning statement, Ben.
Yeah, no, it's good. So you're all right about that, Ken. There's so many things we can do to minimize this from surprising us, right? So Jonathan, if you're still listening, so yeah, we can get surprised by this and shocked by this, and the wind can be just completely drained from our sales. If we didn't prevent this objection, we've got some great videos for you, Jonathan, on preventing objections, especially this one, because it's pretty common. But sometimes it slips through, right? It slips through, we still hear it. So cushion that, relax, stay calm when you hear that, know that, or show that you are a partner. You're here to help them make that best choice, right? So now once you've cushioned that, everyone, like you said, Ken, make it brief. You don't have to dwell on your cushion. Just ask a clarifying question so that you can get a better understanding of how you, Jonathan, how you can deliver the right information for them, right? So as you're looking at options, other service providers, what are some of the key criteria that you're using, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, to make that decision? Right? Because Jonathan, the last thing you want to do is end this call where they're going to call you next week without a clear idea of where you stand and what the next steps are to help your buyer or your prospect make that decision. So that cushion first gets everybody on the same page. That clarify helps you understand where they are coming from. And now you are ready to start changing their perspective. That's a great one. Thanks for bringing that up, Jonathan. Anything else for Jonathan, Ken?
No, I think that's right, Ben. And I guess I would just add that, you have an opportunity there. There's a great opportunity when they've told you that to ask more questions, to get into what that process is deeper. And then finally, set a time, the next time when you're going to follow up. What is the time and the date for the follow-up to them? Yes. Make sure you establish that right there, right then. That's your great opportunity to get
amen
that
to that. Do not leave that meeting without the next meeting scheduled and without clear idea of the actions that are taking place between now and the next meeting. Man, we've all been there. Ken, like you hang the phone up and going, oh my gosh, I didn't schedule that next meeting. And
once or twice.
We've all been there. It's okay.
Right.
Great one here. So this is kind of interesting perspective. Being aware of their DISC colors, right? So maybe their personality traits. For those of you that are not familiar with DISC assessment, this is a great one. Thank you, Iris, Andy. Know who you're talking to, right? So in anything that we do when we're responding and interacting with our prospects, with our existing customers, we want to make sure we're tailoring the conversation for their communication style.
Right.
That's a great point. Absolutely great point.
Well, and Ben, you talk about that. A lot of people might not know what DISC is, but if you think about, and many people in sales and business have done DISC assessments, but DISC is a really, really powerful tool if you use it properly. And you just have to think, one of the terms that before DISC existed, we used the term mirroring your prospect. Make sure that you're not a high-strung, hyper guy going in there with a guy that's very calm and easygoing and soft-spoken behind the desk. You want to sound somewhat similar, and not in any kind of way that you're objectionable to yourself or to others, but you're just trying to make that person feel more comfortable with you. And everyone feels more comfortable around people that are similar to them or behave similar to them.
And Ken, I got to say, you are great at that, right? So when you're working with, whether it's a coaching client you're working with, and I've seen you in action, or if you're working with a new customer you're meeting, you're not always the vivacious out there guy, because you've got to mirror what they're doing. That's an important part in overcoming objections.
Right.
And so when you're cushioning, you're bringing that together, their communication style, their concern that they're throwing that olive branch out there to you, and you're showing them that you're not going to put them in a headlock, but we're going to have a very fruitful discussion about it. Great point there, Ken.
Right. Well, and thank you for that, Ben. And one of the other things when we talk about, the reason you need to cushion, if you start into, I'm going to defend this position, I know the answer, I know how to overcome this objection, and they don't stand a chance once I overcome this objection. You've set the table to make this a battle. You've set the table already right off the bat. And often your prospect is waiting for you to do just that. And what really happens is, instead of being prepared to come back with another objection or to make a counterpoint, and their defenses start going up, their defenses come down and they say, oh, wow, well, that was different.
Great point.
You know, and now, well, now he's asking me to clarify that, or she's asking me to clarify what I said. That's a relationship builder, or, you know, a bridge builder, as we say.
Yeah, no, but definitely a bridge builder, and it's not common, right? Because they are waiting for you to say, oh, but our price is this and our value is that, and we're the best company you should look at. You know, going back to Jonathan's example, you should never go look at any other companies at all. And they're expecting that, and when they get that, they're ready to fight back. But if you do these steps, they're ready to continue that partnership, building that partnership and building that trust.
Yeah, Ben, there's so many trainings that I've gone through in my life where the training was all about, if they say this, you say this. Yeah. If they say this, you say this. And this robotic methodology to just repeating a phrase when someone else uses a certain phrase. That is so old school, and it really doesn't work. The buyers today, your prospects today, are educated. Yeah. They're highly skilled when it comes to the information that they gather and how they're going to be treated, and they know how they want to be treated. That's for sure.
Great point. And let's be clear, those kind of comeback statements, but the way you overcome the objection, those can work. Those are good. They just work better if you take those first two steps. Let's put those back up on the board. I'm looking at the time, and we've got to run here pretty soon, Ken. Man, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? So those two steps, when you're responding to objections, cushion that objection. Show them, don't tell them that you get it, you understand their perspective and where they're coming from. It's that first step in building that bridge. And then that second step is clarify their concern. You said this earlier, Ken. Don't try to fix something that's maybe not broken. Make sure you understand what their concern actually is. Maybe it's not the price, the dollar amount, the money amount. Maybe it's just the timing. Right. So all of those are important to know.
Ben, we'll have to do we'll have to do this again. And the next time we can talk a little more about change their perspective and confirm their new perspective, because those are just two more steps in the 4 C's of overcoming objections. And it's really powerful. And it was great to be here with you today.
Ken, are you trying to make sure we schedule the next meeting before we leave this meeting? Is that what you're doing? I love it. Spoken like a true sales professional. Very well done. So we will set that up, and we will absolutely have you back on the show. Thank you so much for doing this. And I wish we could hang out here all day and keep going. I guess we have to get back to work, don't we?
Great to be here. Yes, we've got some work to do today. Take care.
And before we leave, let's do that outro one more time, and I'll see you on the other side. Take care, guys.
All righty.